everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown. That was the beautiful Irene Avlonitis sharing a guided meditation and a poem as the assisting practitioner. I'm Frankie. I'm the spiritual director here. And what we're all about at our center is your soul, your spirit, your essence. So it doesn't really matter where you come from, what's happened to you, what's going on in your life right now. We love you completely, we welcome you completely, and we know that the power and the presence of divine love in you is here to be revealed, and that's what we support. So welcome to our center. And as always, we start with a spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. Let me swallow that little scratchy. Besides that, I want to tell you that I'm the DJ today. Some of you know that we had a little thing happen in January where one of the musicians couldn't make it. And so I started using some of my playlist to have a wide variety of music. Right, Bob? And I love to share it. And so I was asked if we could do it more often. So once a month, remember, that's not my day gig, so I'll do my best. But today I'm sharing a lot of the music of Beth Nielsen Chapman and her CD Prism, which is really beautiful. And we're going to have Bob Sima visit. I don't know if any of you watch Facebook, but Bob and Shannon got engaged this weekend. So we're really excited about that. They're musicians that come and do workshops with us. And he said, this might be the perfect song for you today, so we're going to play that. So let's close our eyes. And I invite you to hear these as your own words. Because there really is only one life. There's only one mind, one God, one truth, one love. And it is revealed as the many and the much. So we move from cause to effect, and the more we are centered in cause, the absolute first cause, the oneness of all life, the more we experience that in our day-to-day living. So right here, right now, as I speak in the I am, I speak from and to that place of oneness. I know that I am an individualization of the one. I am an individualized expression of the universal life. And in that, I am so unique that my experience is never like any other. So it invites me to turn deep within and explore my oneness with the divine, and explore my way of expressing in the world, and realize that my life experiences are here to support me. They are for my good. They're here to show the way. They're here to reveal the internal wisdom that is already within me. They are here to be lived as truth principles. So today I embrace all of it. Just like the beautiful poem, The Guest House. I embrace all of my life and realize that nothing ever happens against me. That everything always happens for me. And so I rise up onto higher ground and I see through the eyes of love. I hear with the ears of wisdom. I observe with an open mind and an open heart, always looking for the deeper way that the universe is getting my attention. And then knowing that I have everything I need to live a most fulfilled life. And so I am grateful to live this life, grateful to be here today, grateful to be with those of like mind, and grateful with the blessing of divine inspiration. And so it is. So, we have a whole new month before us. Oops. And me and my little pieces of paper. I want to share with you that the book for this month is this fantastic book by Dr. Ernest Holmes, one of 100-ish. How to Change Your Life. This is an incredibly powerful book, and we're working with that this month. there are 2 in the bookstore. Whoever gets there first gets first dibs. But there are more ordered, and they're coming all in tomorrow or Tuesday, so we will definitely have more. So where I want to take you back to, hello, you don't want to be up here? You're really good, we need you today. So what I want to tell you about is bringing everything back to this idea that there is only one basic principle. And if we do any kind of spiritual study or study about religion or spiritual teaching since the beginning of time, what we learn is that everything is distilled to one basic principle, one basic idea, and it's that one. That beautiful hanging that Gail Marfin made, she made both of them. As within, so without is a principle that has existed since the beginning of time. It is a basic principle that is alive in us. It's already there. It's like our spiritual DNA. It's our spiritual ancestors' wisdom. As within, so without. Ernest Holmes says this: we all have access to the universal mind, but we do not all use this direct access because we're so used to judging from external facts. It's difficult for us to get away from the apparent long enough to judge the real. So interestingly enough, we all get confused sometimes. Sometimes more than other times. Some of us more than others. And we flip that. We begin to think as without, so within. Because we think, oh, I don't have enough money, so let me figure out how I can get more money. Or I don't have a job, so let me figure out how to get a job. Or I am lonely, let me figure out how I can get into a relationship. Or whatever it may be, whenever we think we are less than, whenever we're having a challenging experience, whenever we have anything physical going on, we have a tendency to really think as without, so within, because once I can fix this, I'm going to be all right. And a lot of that is unconscious. So it is here to be made conscious, so that we remember the truth principle that already lives within us, as within, so without, which really just says the way I think and what I believe, my consciousness creates my reality. Not my reality decides how I'm going to feel today. Although that does happen. That doesn't happen to torture you. That happens to awaken you. So that you can bring yourself back to that basic truth principle and make it practice. So what happens is, when we flip that one and when we live the opposite, we are in confusion. The way that you can tell is by how you feel. You might be blaming someone or something or a certain organization for what's happening in the world. You might be thinking that your upbringing or your ex-spouse or your siblings are the cause to your distress. You might be afraid because you received some news that isn't optimal. You might have an argument going on inside of you where your mind just seems to not be able to just stop about something or about someone. You might be feeling some shame because of something you've experienced or something you've done or something you haven't done. And if you're on a spiritual path, sometimes we have this spiritual shame where we're saying, what's wrong with my consciousness? How come I can't demonstrate this or that? What's wrong with me? That's a really great thought, by the way, to have. It's the flip of that one. And so then we walk around with all these excuses, right? We have these excuses of why we don't have time to meditate, why we can't do this, why we can't do that, why we can't change. And they're just that, they're just excuses. They're based on fear, right? We all have a few. And so then something happens, and we get whacked upside the head or on the ass, and we go, whoa, what was that? Something big might happen. Something really challenging might happen. And there is this little voice inside that says, I know this isn't about that. I know this isn't about what it seems to be about. I know there's something bigger taking place in my consciousness that is calling me to higher ground. And you all know what I'm talking about. Because I would say that most of you have experienced some kind of whack upside the head. Whether it's a challenging health issue, or financial, or relationship, or a death, or a particular change in your life that you didn't expect. We all have those things. If we are feeling like victims, then we say, oh, as without, so within. So let me fix this so that I can feel better. But what we know when we're on a spiritual path is that it's as within, so without. So we then get to work with that. Instead of getting caught up in the spin of it, or getting caught by someone or something else that's happening in our world. And so we get to choose freedom. And the way we choose freedom is we remember that our consciousness establishes our reality. So we must then choose to live in the presence that is our higher self. That is the principle, as within, so without. We must live in our connection with our higher self, whatever you call that, God, Spirit, Buddha, Allah, your higher power, the source, the life force, it doesn't really matter. As long as you feel something when you say it, something good is ideal. And so what I've learned is the number one treatment, our word for affirmative prayer, ever is a treatment for clarity. Whenever you have any kind of confusion, the thing to pray for, the thing to declare, the thing to claim is clarity. And the beauty is that that clarity is not out there somewhere. We don't look for signs. We turn within and go to the place within that already is clear. Because it's not something that is learned or gained or purchased or sold. It is something to know is already within us. It's already available. Everything is already available. And so we make contact with the oneness of all life. And we allow ourselves to experience it and have it reveal a greater idea. One of my favorite authors is Joel Goldsmith, who was a contemporary of Dr. Ernest Holmes and considered to be an absolute thinking. I mean, his intention was to always think in the absolute and not go absolute relative. And it's just another way of practicing spirituality. It's all good, but he says this. Spiritual healing is the result of the direct contact of an individual with the center of their consciousness. When we touch this place within our own being, healing naturally follows. If someone has asked for help, that one receives the healing. No words, treatment, arguments, affirmations, or denials are necessary in spiritual healing. The only requirement is that we become still, that we silence the outer senses and go deep within our being until we feel ourselves at the center of consciousness. Then a contact is made. A feeling within us becomes evident, and we know that the healing has been accomplished. And so this month is all about spiritual laws and how to use them. That means that we have to realize that these spiritual laws already live inside of us. As within, so without is just a spiritual law. Just like there are physical laws, law of gravity, blah, blah, blah. I can't think right now what other laws there are. There are spiritual laws, and they all distill down to that, as within, so without. Cause and effect from the inside out. And so we pay attention, we get still, and we listen to the voice of truth. We surrender to this inner wisdom instead of the outer experience. Because when we surrender to the inner wisdom, we have an opportunity to grow and evolve, which is really the only thing that's happening. Otherwise, we start spinning and we experience life as a burden. We know that there's this, when we're whacked upside the head, we know that this is an opportunity to expand our consciousness and to have a broader way of thinking about ourselves and the world. When we expand in consciousness, we evolve. When we stay contracted and resistant and fearful and worried and thinking as without, so within, we're just suffering. It's self-induced suffering. It's just creating more burdens. And all this is about experiencing a greater sense of freedom. But it requires that we embrace life as it is, in the moment. Instead of going, no, blah, 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 I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to experience it, I want to feel it, I want to think it. Just notice what you're thinking, notice what you're feeling. Go back to the basic principle and listen for that higher call. This really requires a lifestyle change. You know, I know when we talk about lifestyle changes, our first thought goes to money, diet, relationships, health. Yeah, our first thought when we hear lifestyle change is that. But the only true lifestyle change is the lifestyle of our inner experience, the relationship that we have with Spirit, the connection that is already established. We're not here to be more spiritual. We're already 100% spiritual. We're here to awaken to the fact that we're 100% spiritual and then to live that to the best of our ability, knowing that we all stumble. And so it's about practice. And the practice is about living from the inside out. Being aware that we're already doing that. Knowing that you are already completely capable to have amazing relationships. You're already completely capable of being free and experiencing absolute abundance. You're already capable to experience glorious health. You're already capable to experience greater abundance. It's just about living these principles that you hear about in every class, every Sunday, and read in every spiritual book. So we ask, how do we live that with a more open heart, with a more open mind, with more faith, trusting that the universe is cheering us on. And so then we realize how much of a privilege it is to be in this incarnation, to live this life. There is no coincidence that you are who you are, that your life is the way it is, that you have what you have, that you don't have what you don't have. All of it is really perfect divine right action for you to awaken to your soul and to live your life from the oneness, from that connection with your soul, because your life is not about this life. Your life is about your soul's evolution. And I know we don't talk in this teaching about reincarnation and past and future lives, but the way I feel is that if I'm not going to get it this time around, I'm going to have to get it another way. There's certain things I don't ever want to do again. There's certain things in my life I don't ever want to experience again. So I'm going to milk it for all it's worth, so I'm done with it, so I can see the truth about it. And so, how do we do that? We spend a lot more time in this place of stillness and quiet. I know that there's a lot on Netflix that's on your list that you need to watch when you're home. Because, you know, we can't do it yet while we're driving, although I've noticed some people do. I know that there's a lot of books to read. I know there's a lot of activities and a lot of to do and many friends to see and family to hang out with. But you must make your spiritual practices a priority. You must take time to be still, and so that you can hear that inner voice that only you can hear as a unique, individualized expression, and to strengthen that spiritual muscle so that you more quickly hear it and know it and feel it and know how to follow it. Because there is an inner wisdom that you can absolutely rely on. It is 1,000% reliable. It's there now. It's there for you. And we get to learn to trust it. And I know sometimes it's hard to trust it. Because if the world is doing this, and you're going, I'm good, it takes a little more work to feel strong inside. And so I know how easy it is to be tossed around by life. I mean, is there anyone here that's never been tossed around by life? You sure? Nobody? Doesn't that tell you something? We've all been tossed around by life, and sometimes the tossing is more jarring than other times. But being tossed around by life is not being punished. It's not about struggling and suffering. It's about knowing a deeper truth. It's about experiencing that deeper connection. And I have come to realize that I can't make any mistakes. In a universe that is divine right action and where my spirit is whole, perfect, and complete, I can't make a mistake. I just get to experience things that I may not like, but I get to experience them. So your life experiences then are gifts. Imagine if you looked at some of the life experiences that you don't like as a gift, as a blessing. Wouldn't that change everything? Wouldn't that change your life completely? And so, there's so many advantages being part of a spiritual community. I want to remind you that we're here to support you. I have the thickest stack of events I've ever held in my hand on a Sunday. And for those of you that don't know, I've been here 25 years. I'm going on a mini sabbatical in June, and we have so much happening, and I want you to hear from a couple of people in a little bit, because June is going to be a super exciting month. So if you're sitting here going, she's not going to be here, I'm not coming, wake up, because that's the biggest whack you can get on your head right now. That's because you're making it about one person. You're not making it about your experience and your opportunity to grow, heal, and evolve. Now we have workshops starting next week. Well, this Wednesday, Steve is teaching Kundalini Yoga, and I'm going to miss my first class. I love that class. Kundalini Yoga is so much fun with Steve. Then we have Sharon Silverstein coming with Deva, and they're doing a workshop. Then we have Patrick Harbula doing a Joy Factor workshop. Our beautiful Marion Oxenhorn, who is a fantastic comedian, is going to have an evening of her comedy. You do not want to miss that. And if you're afraid to pee your pants, we'll provide diapers. She's hilarious, and she's smart, and beautiful, and magnificent. And right now, her beloved Marty is healing from a heart attack. Was it a heart attack? A little one. And he's healing, and he's doing well, and he's coming home soon, and we're just loving him up. And then I'm doing a one-day retreat before I go away, and then we have a vision boarding with Sharon, and we have Reverend Elaine Silver coming, doing music, all inspired by Ernest Holmes, and we have the book group with our beloved Lynn. We have so much going on, and you're going to hear about some really awesome prosperity workshops. So there's a spiritual community where you get to remember you are not alone. We provide you with information, classes, and workshops that are here to support you. We have so many things happening in our center that can feed you and that can truly awaken you to your spiritual magnificence. So just say yes and welcome it all in. I want to close with a very short reading from this book. And then you're going to hear a little bit of Beth Nielsen Chapman. I love this book. It was hard to pick one little paragraph. The Science of Mind teaches a way of thinking which gives you an awareness of spiritual principles on which you may rely. Science of Mind shows you how to use the law of mind, how to effectively think and to pray affirmatively for what you need, so your life becomes wholesome, successful, and good. It teaches that your prayers are always answered, if they are declared in sincerity, believed in, and acted upon by you with common sense and practicality. It declares that you have a perfect right to use the creativity of your mind to provide abundant finances for a fuller, richer experience in living. And so it is.
So it is.
Choose love. So there's a couple of people I want you to meet. Jennifer Riggio, come on up.
Oh, it's like the Price is Right.
Price is Right. And next we have John and Lucy Pavlik. And they're going to talk a little bit about what is coming up, just in case you want to have a little more abundance and prosperity in your life. And
Ladies and gentlemen, who would like to demonstrate more prosperity and more abundance? If you do, please repeat after me. Prosperity now!
Prosperity now!
Prosperity now!
Prosperity now!
Now I know you're saying, they got that from Seinfeld, Serenity now. You're absolutely right, because when they proclaimed that on Seinfeld, they went into that serenity. And that's what our workshop is all about. Lucy and I have been on a 2-year hiatus because of our ministerial classes, but our last semester, we had to present a workshop. We came up with a prosperity workshop with our congregation in mind called Prosperity Now. We presented it 2 weeks ago, and we got an A+ on it. The workshop is simply this. Perfect setup today, Reverend Frankie, Dr. Frankie. As within, so without. 4 simple steps. We're going to take you inside, and we're going to look at any false or negative beliefs you have about prosperity. We're going to uncover them, and we're going to turn them into positive affirmations. So we're going to bring you in, we're going to uncover any blocks, and then we're going to take you out in prosperity. Anybody who's taken a class with us knows it'll be fun. There will be music from newly inducted Rock and Roll Hall of Famer John Bon Jovi. Be nice if he was actually here, that would really be it. We have a live chef coming to do appetizers for the mid-break that we have. We have giveaways. We have takeaways, we have a raffle, but more importantly, we really put a lot into this because this year, Morristown, we want to rock you with prosperity. This summer, we have such a solid prosperity program, and the reason we're serving appetizers is because we are the appetizer, the workshop for what Jennifer's going to talk about. So all I have to say is if you go, ooh, that sounds a little interesting, go put your name down. We have a little sign-up sheet in the back. Something changes when you put your name down. When you put your name down on that check, something changes. And from our appetizer, now we go to our main dish. Jen?
So I'm going to tell you a very small story. I love purses. I love them. I have tons of them. I don't carry them at the moment. I was in this Short House Mall shopping with my best friend. And it's like this, I go past the Michael Kors thing, there's this blue purse that I think spoke my name. And I go back, and I was like, she's like, why are you drooling? I was like, it's so beautiful. She's like, well, let's go in and get it. I was like, no. She's like, what? I was like, because I know it's like a car payment there. I can't do that. So at that moment in time, my phone rings. I was like, oh my God, it's my mom. As you know, I'm thinking about spending money. I'm like, okay, so I go off. I end the call, and I turn around, and next to me is a Michael Kors bag with the purse in. And I said, oh my God, what did you do? She said, I never ever want you to think you can't have what you want. And from that moment, propelled me forward into something that was a walking lab of prosperity. And that's what Prosperity Plus does. It's so easy to sit on our couch and think our big thoughts, but until you're put in front of the choice to choose prosperity, it doesn't really go anywhere. So this course, when Mary Morrissey does such a good job of providing you all with the exercises, is a living lab. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to see her talk, right? And if you have any resistance to her, because I had resistance to her for years, I was like, oh my God, tithing, really? Do you have to do that? But wait, sign up, because that resistance is where the gold is for you. And by taking that purse and using that purse every time, I make a different choice. And that's what I want for you to choose prosperity. So thanks, and I hope you join us.
So I want you to just grab the flyer. It's going to be 10 Thursdays during the summer, and Jennifer is just an amazing teacher. This is what she does for a living, so she brings that spark and that joy, and she's hilarious, so you get to have some fun. You only need to purchase the materials, and then there is a commitment to tithing. Don't worry about that part. It takes care of itself, and it's just so much fun. The other thing I want to tell you about is we have a Phoenix Fund happening at our center. This is our annual pledge drive. Most of you will receive phone calls from a practitioner or from a leadership council member to invite you to participate. Since you're a part of this community, we ask you to do your part to the best of your ability. If you don't want to receive a call, there are forms in the back, and I'm sure Stephanie will be at the table and explain to you what this is all about. And we also would love for your treatment support. So even if you can give, you can give your faith, you can give your prayers, you can give your service. So just hold us in the highest and know that as a center, we continue to be abundant, and that's all for your profit, you know, because when we're abundant, we're able to serve you and give back to you, and that's what we do. So now we're going to do our One Power experience for whoever chooses to. If you're a super introvert, you can stay exactly where you are and just close your eyes and meditate, or just take in the vibe of the joy that we're about to have. This is just a couple of minutes. I want you to go up to someone and tell them, I'm ready to be more prosperous. And then tell them in which way, whether it's relationships or love or clarity or health or vocation or money or whatever it may be. I'm ready to be more prosperous, and then tell them in which area, okay? So we'll do this for a few minutes. Get on up and go do it. All right, let's close with a healing treatment. Thank you all for being here and join us in our Friendship Hall for our social hour and checking out the bookstore and checking out all the things that are happening at our center. Just take some flyers, sharing with people that you know and love. So let's close our eyes and let's know this. There is only one life. This life is God's life. This life is perfect. This life is our life now. So right here and right now, simply by being open and present and receptive, we are each experiencing healing and transformation, simply because we've remembered a greater truth, simply because we're here, simply because we're open, simply because we're receptive, simply because we are hungry for a life that is beyond anything that our ego minds can imagine. And so today we trust a little bit more deeply. Today we surrender to the silence of the eternal wisdom within. Today we trust that we are given exactly what we need. Today we surrender to this power and this presence that is already within us, and we let it do what it does best. Care for us, provide for us, show us the way, give us guidance, and make us better people. And so the world is blessed because we are in it. Today we are grateful for that and so much more, and so it is.
And so it is.
Have a great week, everybody.